So this tutorial is going to show you how to kick up to handstand. You're not only going to be able to overcome your fears, to develop a better awareness of your body, otherwise known as proprioception, and learn how to balance upside down on your hands, but you're also going to understand that it actually opens doorways to a lot of other parts of your movement practice. Now, the handstand requires a lot of mobility and stability through pretty much the entire body. It really is a full body movement. But the handstand does require enough shoulder strength to support your body weight upside down, and it also requires quite a bit of shoulder mobility. We also need good mobility and stability in the wrists so that we can have fully extended wrists and support our body weight there. We need a reasonable amount of awareness of core positioning and remaining straight through the spine. And the last key thing is hip mobility. The more hip mobility you have, the more you can spread the legs out in a split-leg position, the easier it's going to be to kick up into that handstand position. Now, my recommendation is that you focus not on catching and balancing your handstand when you first start this journey, but that you focus on a smooth and controlled transition from the floor up into the air. Don't even bother trying to hold and catch your balance just yet. Focus on smooth and controlled movement, and then catching the balance will become much easier. And I'll show you what that looks like and how that's done in practice. So to get into your handstand, we're gonna start with a plank position. We wanna plant our hands down and really root them down into the floor, spreading those fingers wide so we can keep our wrists safe. We want a nice stable plank position, so make sure you're pushing the ground away, spreading those shoulder blades apart, and rolling the hips backward, tucking your tailbone underneath of you, kind of like a dog trying to hide its tail. Draw your belly button slightly in towards your spine. From here, we're gonna step one foot about halfway forward between the hands and our back foot here. Now, this back foot, we're gonna use for momentum to get up into the air. This foot here, we're gonna use for power. This is gonna push us off the floor. When we start our kick-ups, as I was saying, all we want to do is practice a smooth transition from the floor up into the air and coming back down. We wanna push with our shoulders, and we wanna kick with the legs. And your first goal is not to get up into the handstand, it's not to get to the wall, it's just to kick up into the air and land softly. You wanna practice a number of repetitions, maybe 10 or more on one side, and then switch sides and practice 10 or more on the opposite side. Then you can bring yourself to the wall to use for support to really try and find the balance upside down. When you place your hands, you don't want them too close to the wall. You're not going to be able to stay up there if so. And you don't want them too far away from the wall either. That's going to mean you're really going to have to bend your back to get up there. You want them maybe 30 centimeters away or so. As always, fingers spread nice and wide, okay? Now we're going to find our modified plank position, 1 foot forward. And when you're ready, you can kick up to the wall. It might take a few attempts to actually find the wall and stay there, especially in this L position, but that is your goal. Make sure you keep that leg down and nice and straight, toes are pointed. And when you're up on the wall, you're looking for a joint stack position, meaning your shoulders are right over your hands, your hips are right over your shoulder, and you got those legs split open. Once you're up and comfortably on the wall, your goal is then to shift your weight and your body position ever so slightly to be able to take your top foot just barely off of the wall. Don't push yourself off with your top foot, because then you're going to come down off the wall. The very common mistake is to push against the wall with that top foot instead of adjusting position with the fingertips and through the rest of the body to find that balance. You're looking for a tiny distance between your top foot and your wall, even just a few millimeters will do, and you'll be balancing upside down completely on your own. Now that could take quite a while to do, to kick up to the wall and then to be able to find your balance there, just barely hovering off of it, is going to take a period of weeks, maybe even months to find. Stay patient, stay persistent, you will find it eventually. The final thing that you want to be practicing on the wall is scissor kicks. This is when you're starting to find that balance with wall support and you're ready to practice starting to lift that second leg up into a straight handstand position. We place the hands, we find our modified plank, we kick up, and we find a little bit of balance with that foot hovering barely off the wall, and then we scissor kick with the legs. Now it might be a little bit clunky and awkward at first, but if you make the scissor a little bit smaller and switch the feet, look for the correct body position, then it'll get softer and softer over time. And mastering those is the key to then being able to kick up and find the balance in your handstand in free space, which is the final step of kicking up to your handstand. So once you've built that comfort, that stability, and you're finding balance with support from the wall, then you want to come away from the wall again and see if you can find that same balance in free space. So plank, 1 foot halfway forward, we kick up, and we find our L-handstand position. Now, only when and if we have balance here should we be practicing lifting that other leg up and finding our straight line handstand. The last important tip I'm going to give you is don't worry early on about trying to get a beautifully straight line handstand. If you're finding moments of balance, that's the important part. As you continue your journey, you can then start to straighten that line out, open up the shoulders, build some core strength to really see those nice, clean, straight lines and angles that we all love to see. Just don't worry about it in the beginning. I trust you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you're starting to find balance in your handstand and you're really enjoying the process. And as always, wishing you very well.